The 1960s was an era of chaos in the United States. Blacks were fighting every day for their rights with protests, sit-ins, and boycotts. A couple leaders emerged during this period and became the voice for the blacks, which were Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and Robert Kennedy. Sadly, these leaders were assassinated for their beliefs and perseverance to make a change in America. Malcolm X was a black Muslim leader who advocated Black Lives Matter through the use of force. Thomas Hagen shot Malcolm X during a speech in Audubon Ballroom. Groups like the Black Panthers adopted his philosophies but didn't have the same power as Martin Luther King. He was the only man to admit the killing of Malcolm X, but Muhammad Aziz and Ken Till were also convicted of murdering Malcolm. Hagen said that they did not do it, so they got out of parole in the 1980s. Martin Luther King Jr. led the civil rights movement. He had a nonviolence approach to give equal rights for the African Americans. He led the bus boycott, Memphis sanitation worker strike, and was famous for his I Have a Dream speech. On April 4th, 1968, Memphis, Tennessee, he was shot on a second-floor balcony outside his room at the Lorraine Motel. Lyndon B. Johnson urged Americans to reject the blind violence. He called Congress to speedily pass the Civil Rights Bill as a legacy to King and his life's works. On April 11, Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1968, also known as the Fair Housing Act. Robert Kennedy was an American politician from Massachusetts. He fought organized crime and worked for civil rights for African Americans. He also served as a close advisor to the president. In the Senate, he was a committed advocate of the poor and racial minorities and opposed escalation of the Vietnam War. He seemed to be the only man who could fix the civil rights conflict. Zoran killed Robert Kennedy with a .22 caliber handgun, which was rolled up in a campaign poster. He shot Kennedy 3 times.
These 3 assassinations impacted America very deeply. Angered Americans, caused riots, and many believed that violence had become a toxic, infecting American society.
However, something good did come out of it. These leaders left an example for African Americans to get them to fight for civil rights.